What up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with my Week 8 college football power rankings. And let's get into it here. Dropping from my rankings, got Arizona State, Illinois, Iowa State. All three of these teams lose, and unfortunately, they just don't make the cut this week. Two of the three make my others receiving votes in Illinois and Iowa State. And some teams to look out for. We got Washington, Pittsburgh, big win last week. UNLV and Navy undefeated still in the group of five. Houston keeps winning. Same with Nebraska. They're a scary team, I think, coming out of the Big Ten that could make some noise late. Then you have Louisville and Tulane. Same thing. I think those teams can make some noise here in these upcoming weeks. 25 through 21. I'm keeping my Michigan Wolverines here. They were in this game until really the second half, and it just all fell apart. There's the case to put Nebraska in over them, but they beat Nebraska, so I'm going to keep them there. Their two losses are now to USC and to Oklahoma. Both those teams obviously are ranked higher than Michigan, so I don't really want to take them out of the rankings where Nebraska hasn't beat the top 25 team yet. Memphis, they were off. They fall back one spot, still undefeated in the American Conference. It could be a preview of the conference championship in a few weeks when they play USF. Speaking of USF, blow the doors off North Texas. There's the case you could rank them even higher at 5-1, 2-0 in American. They could coast to that Memphis game and possibly play their way into the playoff. Utah, great to see them back on top again. Not only did they make a statement winning against Arizona State at home, 32-point win. They were favored by 9.5. I get they didn't have their starting quarterback, Sam Leavitt, but hey, you still got to go out there and compete, and they just dominated. Now they get rewarded with a huge game at BYU and a big one for the Big 12. And an old Big 12 team in Texas joining the ranking, beating Oklahoma in the Red River Shootout. And it was pure domination in this one. Good for Texas to keep their season alive and to really restore some confidence in that team as they head into this bye week. 20 through 16, you get USC joining the rankings again. They beat Michigan, so they're more than deserving to get back in here. They go to Notre Dame, though, and if they can beat Notre Dame, they're probably jumping into my top 15, if not top 10, because this resume for USC is very good. Their only loss obviously came to Illinois, and it was a close one. So who knows how that'll go. But for Notre Dame, they got their life on the line here. They can't have another loss. They're more than likely they are not getting in the playoff unless chaos happens for the rest of the season. They blew out NC State, another dominant performance there by their defense, and the offense is looking to come alive here in these upcoming weeks. And then those two teams in the middle, Virginia was off. They stay at 18, as they should take care of Washington State. And I have Cincinnati staying at 19. It wasn't a pretty game. The defense played well, though. They gave up 3 points until the last 3 minutes of the game where they gave up that touchdown and a 2-point conversion. So it was a good showing there by Cincinnati. And the team that isn't on the board here, it's going to be Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt obviously lost to Bama. And with that being said, they now get LSU. And I think that's pretty much going to decide how the season's going to go for Vandy because their schedule gets harder here after this. And if that's the case, well, who knows how this season's going to go if they win this game. If they lose it, I think the stock is going to be out on Vandy, and they'll make a bowl game for sure, but just probably playoff chances might be out the window. 15 through 11, 4 of the 5 here are SEC teams, and 2 of them took losses in Oklahoma and Missouri. Oklahoma drops out of my top 10 after an ugly loss against Texas. Even with John Mateer, they couldn't do anything on offense. Mizzou looked very good until Bo Pribula threw the pick late to seal it and kind of forced the ball there. Didn't need to force it. They were driving to get into field goal range, had enough time to do so. Just an unfortunate mistake there late in the game by a redshirt freshman, but they can rebound this week at Auburn. The other two SEC teams, you got Tennessee and LSU. Tennessee, kind of a letdown win, I guess you could say, because, well, they were dominating this game. And then in the fourth quarter, they just let Arkansas hang around and come back and make it interesting late. So, they dominated for 3 quarters, but the box score, if you just looked at that, could be a little deceiving as they get a huge game against Alabama. And LSU, like I said, it was an ugly win. This offense is very bad in my eyes, making bad decisions out of Nussmeier, goal line interception. Just could have pretty much put the game away, but instead they gave South Carolina yet another chance. Didn't hurt them. Obviously, they still got the win as they go to Vandy this week in, I think, a must-see game because that could also decide this SEC race here. As it's a big week for the SEC as a lot of teams are 1-1 in that conference already. Then 10 through 6. We still got three more SEC teams here. Ole Miss falls even after a win. Alabama wins, obviously beat Missouri, so they're moving up one. Georgia moves up one after their win at Auburn. And the biggest one for me out of this is Ole Miss. I mean, Washington State only beaten by 3 at home. I mean, that definitely could have been a letdown, and they got upset. But luckily, they pulled out a win here as they go to Georgia here, and it's going to be a great game. Georgia obviously beat Auburn on the road by 10. They were down at half, but didn't let Auburn score in the second half, and they put up 17 to get that win. The winner of that game, I think, is on a path to go to the SEC championship, and it's really just in their hands at that point. Then Alabama, here they are, 3-0 in conference play. If they beat Tennessee, they could be on that same path because remember, the SEC only plays 8 conference games instead of 9, like all the other conferences. It's the last year of them doing that. So just a note there to take if you weren't aware of that. Then you got Oregon right there, smack dab in the middle of those teams, and they lost to Indiana, so they're dropping a few here. I know that they beat Penn State on the road, whiteout, but look at how that turned out. After that, James Franklin's lost 3 straight, and he's gone now. He's fired. So that Oregon win for me is just not as good as we thought it would be at this point in the season. So that's why I'm dropping them here, not just out of my top 5, but to the 8th ranking. Then Georgia Tech. I think I'm long overdue of putting them in my, or not putting them in my top 10. Now here they are. They get Duke. It's a tough road matchup for them, so they could be upset alert this week. The way that they've been playing, it hasn't been pretty football, but if Duke's defense is on, I would not be surprised if this Georgia Tech team, is coming down to the wire. Then 1 through 5, I think there's a case for, I would say 3 of the 5 teams here to be number 1, maybe 4 in Texas A&M, but it's Ohio State and Miami. I think are the clear number 1, 2. Doesn't really matter which order. Indiana makes the case now after going to Eugene and getting that win that they could be that team. Indiana, we thought they would be okay, but this team is, I think, 2 times better than what we saw last year after just dominating Oregon and it was making it tough for Dante Moore all day. I think he threw 3 interceptions in this one. So the defense was humming in this one as they get Michigan State at home, and I expect that to be a blowout as well. Texas A&M, like I said, moving up into the top 10 or top 5, excuse me, along with Texas Tech after some dominant wins against some decent opponents there in the SEC and Big 12. But they both have road games. I think the A&M and Texas Tech game, both on the roads, could be a upset brewing because those are 2 teams that can win at home and play competitive at home. And, they're season on the line at this point. They're looking for a win. So don't be surprised if one of those 2 or if both of those, just like Georgia Tech, come down to the wire. Miami was off last week at 2, so they go to Louisville this week, which I think is a huge game in ACC play that probably won't get enough media coverage on it because Louisville lost before this game. And, Miami should dominate in this one, but don't count out Louisville because this team plays football the right way. They play hard, and I wouldn't be surprised if they hang around here maybe till the fourth quarter. Then Ohio State, just, same old Ohio State, 6-0 here. Just coasting through the season is what it feels like because they're just not really squeaking out games. They're just doing whatever they want on offense, and their defense is playing exceptional as they go to Wisconsin in what'll probably be another blowout. That's going to be it for my Week 8 power rankings. Check back next week to see where I got all these teams ranked in my top 25. Till then, the Bench Buddies are out.